1993 skid steer Bobcat 440B. We're putting in a Predator 670 cc's. Now what I did is I made a template. Now notice it says the shaft is this way, cardboard is up. So what it really means is the shaft is going out in that direction, the starter is in the front, and the oil filter is in the back. So what I did is I put a template, and the first thing you do is, assuming you took your engine, put it on a piece of cardboard or paper, and you drew around it, including the bolt holes. Well, when you put your template down, you actually put your first bolt, knowing that the shaft is to your right. To make sure that you don't move, I simply drop just a bolt through. Now that I dropped a bolt through, I know this cardboard is not going to move around. Well, I noticed something. I noticed that there's nothing here on the bottom of this plate. So I'm going to go ahead and weld in a piece of plate there. But for the time being, just to get everything situated, I went ahead and drew circles in my template where the other holes go. So there's one up here. And since there was, in the engine, there's two different holes, those are option, I drilled both of them. Now, the old hole is below the cardboard, just downwards. And since there's a hole there and I put a new one up, it made that figure 8. So when I drilled the hole through, I end up using, before anything, these are the drill bits you're going to use. So you're going to want to stick a pilot hole. If you're not familiar with what a pilot hole is, it's drawing a tiny hole. Use a tiny bit to get a big hole. And you're going to put a tiny bit down and use oil. If your drill bit is not going through the metal, it's because you're not lubricating it. That really makes things smooth. So I did a pilot hole, a tiny hole first. Once you do the tiny hole with any kind of tiny drill bit, small one, that's called a pilot hole. Come back with a bigger bit. Now these bits, I got them at Harbor Freight. And they're like 15 bucks. You get 3 different ones. You could use either which ones. They look like Christmas trees, don't they? Well, you get the pilot. Once your pilot is in, and you come back with your secondary. Remove your cardboard, because you already drew them with markers. And it makes the drill bit, which we call the Christmas tree, a lot smoother, and it works its way in. This one caused the number 8, figure 8. So what I did is I pulled it my direction slowly, and it ate at that middle brace in between. It made a wide one, just like the original one is wide. Well, there's only 3 ways to hook up the motor until I put a plate on, but I discovered something else. When I put the motor on, the Predator, only 1 bolt matched up, because the rest of the bolts didn't match, and this circle here was almost rubbing on the shaft. So you may have to grind a little out on this area. Maybe not, because it barely fits. The second hole, I had an eyeball. I drew a marker at the top with my head in the cab again, and I drew a line straight down, followed the bolt, the original bolt, across, and voila. Now I got 2 holes. Well, what I could have done, had I been thinking, is to get another piece of cardboard, an empty one. And I could have got the cardboard and made a cardboard template on the shaft. So press the shaft up against the paper, which gives you the perfect circle. You cut it out, and then slide your cardboard on the circle, puncturing each one of the holes as an option. And those are just options if you want to place it. Now once you do that and you have your template, which this is not it, but considering you might have, you could have got the first hole and put your template against it, and damn, that would have put all your holes in there. It would have put everything perfect so you could drill your holes. I'm only going to use 2 and 3 until I weld one, but I'm not even sure if I'm ever going to even use number 3, because everything sits so good. I then discovered something else. Oh, by the way, assuming you're using the original gas tank, look, it plugs right into the Predator. so you don't have to worry about anything on that. But I stumbled across something else. You would think you need spacers, washers on top of the plate, so your engine is elevated slightly above this plate. You do not. What I realized is this whole plate, when you look, it comes up and down. So all I had to do was stick 2 to 3 washers on the bottom bushing. These are my bolts. I'm coming from the bottom up because this is a C channel. The bolt coming through, and with the nut screwed down, the bolt is not going to be in the way of anything. These bolts are very expensive with the nuts and washer. Oh, bummer. Be prepared to pay about $5, $6 per one bolt, 2 washers, and a nut. So, believe it or not, the engine mounts up, and yeah, last time I was calling the shaft, and I was calling that a flywheel. That was funny. But everything lines up. It's a pulley. Everything lines up perfectly. It sits perfect, and I was able to take the door off, put it on the board, and jump up and down on it like a trampoline. And it was able to flex the door out. I had to use a sledgehammer with a rag on it and beat some of the edges to reshape the metal. As you know, metal stretches when you bend it. So yeah, look at that progress. A template, and it was worth making it. Look at those holes. So you put your template on, and if you don't know where the top holes go, before you do anything, put your template on, drop a bolt in, and that gives you there's your template. So this doesn't move, it doesn't wiggle around on you as much. Then you're able, with the marker, draw that loop with the marker, and with the marker a hole, and with the marker, circle, and you can't draw nothing here because it's missing. Pilot hole, pilot, and then remember, use oil. And then come with your little Christmas tree bit, titanium step drill bits called the Warrior. All right, so now we know the motor's in. Well, it will be here in a minute, super fast, but those are just a couple of updates. Next to the choke and the electrical. Be safe in all you do. So